have with us Brigadier Raashid Wali Janjua, Director Research of Islamabad Policy Research Institute. Thank you, sir, for your presence. You are requested to please come forward and share your thoughts with us on analyzing new elections in Kazakhstan, socio-economic changes. Please.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, for having afforded me this opportunity to discuss constitutional reforms and electoral process reforms. My affiliation with Kazakhstan goes a long time back when I visited Kazakhstan as a serving army officer 2007, and I saw a country on the upswing. It was a country on the move, and it was a new capital was being built, and I saw the lineaments of that capital coming up right from the ground stage, and that was the harbinger of a new nation coming up. And the way Kazakhstan has flowered ever since then, it's very impressive. And I'm very happy that this new constitutional reform package introduced by the President is going to be a veritable harbinger of change, not only in Kazakhstan but the entire region, because Kazakhstan, being a very important country, is a veritable engine of growth for the whole region. So this is a country which is, because of its innate strengths, has the potential to lead the entire Central Asia. Now, the Second Republic, which has been introduced, it means a structural change in the economy and politics of Kazakhstan. President Kassem Tokayev has ushered in the package of constitutional reforms, as you all know, which has been validated through a national referendum with a voter turnout of 68%. 77% of the people strongly supporting those reforms, so that's fairly impressive. These reforms have been ushered in after amending 33 articles of the existing constitution through 56 amendments, almost amending 1/3 of the constitution. The referendum was conducted on 5th of June and has yielded a victory for President Tokayev's vision for a modern Kazakhstan, according to which the country was to have a strong president, an influential parliament, and an accountable government. The country has remained a unitary state during the reign of the first president, under whom a strong presidential system was sedulously nurtured, because that was the need of the times then. So after handing over the power to the second president, the first president had managed and remained head of National Security Council. Since 2019, however, with the arrival of the president, several steps have been taken to distribute the political powers and to bring about a balance between the powers of president, legislature, and the judiciary. Some of those early steps that the president took to bridge the gap between the state and the society included introduction of direct elections to the office of the district and rural mayors, compulsory health insurance, empowerment of women, enhanced childcare payment duration, and right to peaceful assembly for political purposes. Kazakhstan, ladies and gentlemen, is a country that holds pivotal position in Central Asia and therefore is a role model for other Central Asian nations for its economic liberalization initiatives, political reforms, and geopolitical orientation. The economic potential of the country is evident by $300 billion investment which has come in the last 20 years. The January 2022 protests by the people, ostensibly for fuel price rise, indicated in fact a desire and energy in society for betterment of their socio-economic state and circumstances. Cognizant of that desire, President Kassem Tokayev has introduced a package of reforms which, after validation of the referendum, has been put in the implementation mode now. In the limited time that I have for speaking on the subject, I'll briefly touch upon the impact of those constitutional reforms on electoral process, governance, and socio-economic uplift of the people. First, the electoral and governance reforms. Now, these reforms have strengthened the parliament, eroded the privileges of the first president, and opened up the polity in sync with the democratic ethos of the people. These reforms have limited the tenure of the president to a single tenure of 7 years and imposed ban on any of his close relatives, as His Excellency mentioned. President's discretionary quota for Senate nominations is also being reduced, along with his powers to nominate the chairs of a constitutional court, which now would be done by the deputies of the Senate. The new laws also prohibit the president to be a member of any party during the incumbency of his tenure. This reform effectively minimizes the monopolization of the power by any single individual and is in line with the concept of democratic pluralism. These reforms have opened up political space to the political parties, besides giving chance to the more parties to be part of the national electoral process. Now, for new political parties, the process of registration has also been simplified significantly to encourage more inclusive and effusive participation. The lower house will henceforth be elected through party-based elections as well as nominations. So it's a mixed procedure. The proportional representation system, which was earlier on the only system, is being changed with a mixed member system wherein 68 members would be selected from a nationwide constituency based on minimum threshold of votes, while 30 members would be selected on first past the post system of majority. These reforms would increase political participation by new parties while improving the efficacy of existing parties. According to a Kazakh political scientist, Mr. Taglat Kaliev, these amendments will usher in a new political renaissance with the powers being devolved at the grassroots level. Now, to ensure greater accountability and institute proper checks and balances, the audit committee has also been made responsible to report to the parliament twice a year. The Constitutional Court, a body that's supposed to oversee judiciary, has also been reconstituted, and its election and its selection would be henceforth not only the sole preserve of the president, but also through parliament. The Supreme Judicial Council, another very important body, this is also being, it's a training, professional development, and accountability of the judges, which are the bailiwick of Supreme Judicial Council. Those are all being reformed and strengthened. The administrative pressure on judges is being removed through the rationalization of court fees, making access to justice easier and speedier. Now, coming over to socio-economic fronts. The new package of reform addresses several human security and public concerns. Starting with human rights, the death penalty is being abolished, along with an amnesty for the January rioters, except those involved in heinous crimes. The law enforcement agencies are being overhauled and made efficient and accountable to people to control crime and to address the public safety concerns. Now, these socio-economic reforms basically focused on human security and equitable distribution of national income, abolished the oligarchic capitalism. That's a very important development, which has been the bane of national economy hitherto. Comprehensive institutional reforms are being undertaken aimed at the demonopolization of the national economy. On revenue generation front, the tax administration is being completely overhauled, along with the introduction of a new tax code and digitalization of the tax collection process. The new tax laws would discourage luxury spending and monopoly of banks that hoard billions, while the small and medium businessmen remain in trouble due to liquidity constraints. The reforms in healthcare would result in enhanced health spending ensuring proper funding of insurance cover, modernization of 32 district hospitals, and access to primary health care to millions of citizens. On education front, a comprehensive package has been unveiled, including enhanced educational grants, improved quality of universities, and provision of 0.8 million modern schools where multi-shift schooling would be possible. The pension funds for the teachers is also being enhanced by 70% to incentivize them to give their very best. Coming over to public administration, this is an area which is the basis of service delivery. This is being completely overhauled and transformed under Prime Minister's office, which is being reconfigured into a compact government office with greater powers to individual ministries to look after their respective sectoral policies. Civil Services Agency is also being strengthened through a merit-based system of induction and weeding out mechanism. Now, to conclude, what we have seen in this short tour de horizon is a veritable cornucopia of reforms aimed at ameliorating the public lot through better governance and inclusive politics. The political and economic space is being liberalized and opened up to allow more public participation in politics and to turn people into true stakeholders in national development. The chokehold of authoritarianism and oligarchic monopolies is being loosened by a visionary president who has voluntarily shed off powers, and that takes some doing, that stood in the way of national cohesion and development in the past. A new dynamic economic vision supported by an inclusive polity is expected to open up political and economic spaces to make Kazakhstan a preferred destination for investors, tourists, and statesmen in future. I'll stop here and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have. Thank you.